In this video, I'm going to show you exactly how you can land a six-figure network engineering career, even if you have no prior IT experience. This is going to be a full-length course, which is completely free, where I'll break down exactly how the network engineering industry changed my life and how I went from making almost nothing to landing a six-figure remote network engineering job, all by getting one tech certification. And the best part, you can do the exact same thing. If you don't know who I am, my name is Wally Igal, but most people know me as Network Wally, and I started out just like you, working long hours, juggling multiple jobs, just trying to figure out how to break into tech. I didn't have a degree from those fancy colleges. I didn't have connections in the industry. I just got certified. I built labs and learned step by step how networks actually work. That decision completely changed my life. Today, I work in network engineering. I've built labs that support thousands of users, and I've helped hundreds of people do the exact same thing, landing jobs from 80K, 100K, and over 130K per year. The network engineering industry gave me freedom. I went from worrying about bills to working remotely and traveling the world and doing the things that actually excites me. And now through Learn IT Camp, I help others make that exact same transition. Either if you're working help desk, working at a warehouse, or working in retail, you can always find your career in network engineering. Hello, everyone. I want to give you guys all a warm welcome and thank you guys so much for tuning into this video. This is going to be a full-length, full course on how to land a network engineering job and how to make six figures in tech as a network engineer. So this is going to be a phenomenal course. Just because it's free doesn't mean that you shouldn't take it seriously. This is going to be packed with a ton of information because I'm here to help you guys, teach you exactly how I went through my journey of becoming a network engineer as easy as possible, because it can be difficult. I know a lot of you guys are struggling to break in, and this is going to be a full-length course teaching you exactly step by step how to become a network engineer. So this is going to be about 60 minutes or so. So make sure you have your pen, your paper, your notes, and get ready. I want you guys to be locked in for this. It's going to be value-packed with information. You guys are going to be learning a lot. So let's go ahead and get this show on the road. So a little bit about me. So my name is Wally. I've been a network engineer for over 4 years now. And it's crazy to say that because I remember I've always dreamed about working in tech. And the fact that I get to work in tech now and actually teach people is absolutely amazing. So a little bit about me. Before I was in tech, I went to school. And after I graduated, I was completely jobless. I didn't know where to go. I knew I wanted to get into tech, but I just had no idea. Until I found network engineering. I knew I wanted to get into it. I looked at software, I looked at cloud, I looked at these other fields, but network engineering really stood out to me because there's not that many people in it, and it seemed like a really cool field for a beginner like me. So I went ahead and learned it. My uncle was also a network engineer, and he taught me a lot, and that's kind of why I'm here to teach you guys, just to pass down the information that he passed down to me. So I was pretty much unemployed. But now I'm a network engineer, architect with over 4 years of experience. I've worked at great companies like Charter Communications, Zscaler, and some of my achievements. I'm CCNA certified. I've gotten my CCNA, and I also have my CISSP certification as well. I've implemented many large-scale network solutions. So at my companies, I've done so many different types of networks, from data center networks to ISP networks, so many different types of networks that I've worked with. I've specialized in routing, switching, security, design, and operations. So I have quite a bit of experience. I've worked in many different companies, and I'm here to just kind of share that information with you guys. So how can I help you? So really, I've helped hundreds of students land, network engineering jobs and really developed a proven roadmap and a way of passing certifications as well. So it's going to be kind of a bit about me. I also have a YouTube channel with over 10K subscribers. You can find me on Instagram as well. But I love the field of network engineering. It's the career field that absolutely changed my life. And I'm just super happy to sort of pass on this information for you guys. So I want to talk about some of these success stories. I like starting with a good note. So here's some of my students that have been able to land jobs that I've helped. So here's our student Kyrie. He wasn't making that much money working help desk, which is a very low level position within tech. And then after we kind of helped him with his resume, we helped him get the skills and everything. And here's his in our community, this is his post, as you can see. And he got 2 offer letters. He got an offer letter at NASA. Yes, NASA, like the space agency. And he also got another company as a systems engineer, which is very close to networking as well. So he's excited. He got 2 offer letters. He ended up picking the position at NASA, but it's pretty amazing. So shout out to Kyrie on that. And we have another student, Taiwo. He was able to land a job going from IT technician, wasn't making that much. And then now he ended up landing a network administrator job. He actually got 2 job offers, but this is the one he ended up taking. And this one's for a really good company, and he's learning a lot. And as you can see, this is his story. So lots of potential in this particular field. This is another student, Salmaan. He was able to land a job as a network administrator. So he had some IT experience and kind of was unemployed at that period, and he needed help on how to land a job as soon as possible. And he went through my program, and I helped him out, and he was able to land a job as a network administrator. So just because you are coming from different backgrounds or you're unemployed, like I've helped people with no experience to experience, so you can land a job in this particular sort of field with no experience or experience. Is definitely possible. So now what I want to do is I want to cover the course overview for today. So here's kind of the agenda. So kind of I'll talk about in the beginning why network engineering is booming, like why it's a great career field to get into, why I chose it, and why I believe networking is one of the better fields in tech to get into right now in today's market. And the next thing I will be talking about is the certification path, right? I'm not really too big on certifications, but I still believe certifications to have a ton of value, and they're really important to get. So I'll talk about the types of certifications that I've gotten and the ones that have helped me land my job. And we'll talk about the CCNA, CCNP, and other certifications that you can also get. Then we'll talk about resumes. We'll talk about keywords. We'll talk about where to apply for positions. And we'll talk about proven systems that actually help you land interviews. Because I think one big thing that a lot of people struggle with is they get the skills, but then they don't know how to actually implement those skills and actually land a position. So that's kind of where I'll kind of show you guys how exactly to do that. So it's really important you stay tuned for that. And then we'll talk about interviews. And I know a lot of you guys don't like interviews. Interviews aren't the best part for a lot of people. So I'll kind of talk about that and how they're important and how to pass technical interviews and actually how to potentially even negotiate your salary. And then we'll talk about the salary ranges and sort of the roadmap to make over 6 figures. I say 35 year, but honestly, you can do it in even 1 year, right? I like realistic expectations. So that's kind of what we'll be covering there as well. So let's talk about how networking kind of changed my life. So before I was a network engineer, I was kind of working very, very crappy jobs. I was working DoorDash, I was working Uber Eats, I was working at the airlines, I was working as a security guard. I was working all these like jobs, right? And I knew I wanted to do better, right? This is something that I always wanted to do. And one big thing I love is traveling. And I never really got the opportunity to travel until I got my first network engineering job. So as a network engineer, it really gives you really great benefits. At my companies that I've worked at multiple companies, and as a network engineer, you get really good benefits. And one of the benefits that I got was lots of vacation time. I got over 5 weeks of vacation per year at my companies. And one of the perks of that is not only do you have more financial stability from the income, but I get to actually travel the world. So I get to travel, do cool things. This is me in Japan. This is me in Kenya. But and actually also get to work remote as well. So I love the work-life balance, but I also like the lifestyle that it can give you. So it gave me a flexible schedule. I was able to work remote positions and hybrid positions, and really just makes life more predictable. I had more time for family, more time for travel, more time for my personal interest. And then also one big thing was I was able to just have really good satisfaction in my career because as a network engineer, I was able to build labs, I was able to maintain projects, I was able to troubleshoot, I was able to do multiple different things. And that was a huge, huge thing for me because doing all those activities really made me a better engineer, but also more satisfied in the work that I was doing. So that's one of the cool things about that. So what is network engineering? So network engineering is a unique career field in tech. I call it more like the blue collar of tech. So network engineering basically is a way for us to communicate. That's really what we do. We are the backbone of communication. So as a network engineer, we do multiple different things. One of the first things that we do as a network engineer is we troubleshoot. We fix things that need to be fixed. So as you know, when it comes to networking, there are fiber optical cables under the water that are able to pretty much give you the ability to send traffic. So I'm in Denver, Colorado, and for you to be able to watch this video, you guys aren't here with me right now, but the data is being stored at a data center and it's physically getting to you somehow, right? Maybe you have your laptop, maybe you have your access point, but it's somehow getting to you. And it's quite phenomenal how that happens, but there's cables, there's access points, there's firewalls, there's routers and switches. There's these types of devices all over the world that pretty much connect the world together. And it's really a discipline to sort of learn this field, because it's a field that really is a very secure position in tech, because we're dealing with physical equipment. So really what we do is we have the discipline of designing, implementing, securing, and maintaining data networks that enable digital communication across devices and systems and organizations. So it basically connects the world together. Without the internet, without network engineers, there would not be the internet. It's a phenomenal field to work in. It's a unique field that a lot of people are obsessed with these other cool fields like cloud or data or software, but then they'll forget about networking, right? Because networking, without it, there is nothing. None of that wouldn't even exist. There wouldn't even be YouTube, right? That's kind of how it works. So as a network engineer, we design, we build, we create network architectures. We implement, hardware, we configure devices, we secure, we monitor as well. We troubleshoot, we optimize, we document and update. So we do quite different things. Some of the technology stacks that you're going to be working with, you're going to be touching a lot of different types of vendor equipment, different types of vendors. One vendor is called Cisco. Another vendor is called Juniper. Another one is called Arista. These are types of equipments that vendors make. The types of equipments that we work on are called routers, switches, firewalls, access points, wireless controllers. There's multiple different types of devices that we work on. And we have to add configurations to those particular devices, which is basically like settings on the device that need to be changed for us to be able to actually make them work. So some of the stuff that we do a lot of routing and switching, which is, adding protocols like OSPF, BGP, VLANs, spanning tree, MPLS. As well as we do quite a bit of security as well, which is like firewalls, VPNs, intrusion protection systems, and zero trust architecture design that we do as well. When it comes to Wi-Fi, we do lots of Wi-Fi, wireless access points, all that stuff. And then we do a little bit of automation as well. You don't need to know how to code as a network engineer. I've been doing networking for over 4 years, and I never had to write a single line of code. So if you guys are hesitant and don't like coding, this is a great field for you. It's a great opportunity for people who are looking to become network engineers. So why network engineering now? So network engineering has existed for quite some time. This is not some new field. This is not like AI. This is not a field that's going parabolic and everyone's going crazy after. This field has existed for quite some time, actually. Even in the 80s and the 90s, like this is kind of like, it just has changed a little bit. Obviously, back then there was more phone systems. There was more like dial-up phones. Like the internet was much slower at that time, even in the 2000s. Like this field has always existed, right? And if you guys remember, there was an internet bubble that happened back in the year 2000, and that bubble was a huge bubble that really sparked the internet, and really that's kind of where network engineering kind of went to the forefront of that period of time. But it kind of slowed down networking, not slow down in terms of like jobs, but slow down in terms of the amount of craze there is as opposed to other fields like cybersecurity. So there's a high demand right now for SD-WAN specialists. So SD-WAN is software-defined networking, which really kind of revolutionized the enterprise connectivity, and it's seeing quite a bit of growth. Same thing with zero trust architecture. Lots of things are changing this industry, lots of automation. So it's a really great field to potentially get into. And then also like when it comes to Wi-Fi, like different types of, faster new sort of protocols that's coming into the forefront. But not only just the new stuff, the new tech stack is great, but there is also phenomenal just job security in this field. It's not about the cool tech. It's like, think about it. When it comes to your electricity, we think of internet now just like electricity. If the internet goes out, you pretty much can't do anything you want, right? We live in a world right now where internet is almost as important as water. And as a network engineer, we are the front lines when it comes to that. So without network engineering, there wouldn't be any of that. So as a network engineer, it's quite important for us to take that that responsibility and just provide that value and really the importance of having that. So that's kind of why network engineering right now is a phenomenal career field to get into. Lots of job security, lots of demand, and also it's a field that you're always going to want to stick with. It's a field that a lot of network engineers take pride about, that they are network engineers, because you can eventually use this field to sort of segue into other high paying tech fields, because this field is kind of the backbone of tech. So it's a phenomenal field to get into. So, and obviously, as you can see, the numbers, it is a growing field. It is growing year by year. Here's some research by the Groundview Research, and you can see how much potential growth in the billions that this market is going to see. So anyone who tells you that network engineering is dead or network engineering is over or whatever, they're completely lying to you. There's tons of growth in this field. And the most important thing also I want to kind of bring up to you is that networking is everywhere, even in the cloud. So when people say, oh, I want to be a cloud engineer, who maintains the cloud? It's network engineers. We're always behind the scenes. We're never like the front lines, which is kind of sad. No one really likes network engineers. Or no one really knows about it because it's behind the scenes. You've probably never seen routers or switches in person because it's all behind the scenes. Like, think about it. When you think about the internet, you never actually wonder like where the internet is coming from or like how it's being sent to your device. But that's kind of what we do. We work behind the scenes, but we are very important people. So now let's talk about the sort of roles that you can get, and then also kind of the salary progressions you can see within this particular field. So when it comes to networking, there's many different positions that you can do. I'm going to start off with entry level, then work my way down to senior level roles. So for entry level, there's a lot of different types of fields. You can be a field engineer. You can be a NOC technician, or sort of like a help desk that's more network focused. So a field technician is basically someone who is laying the fiber, someone who's going to be outside and actually go on site and install the cables, the hardware, and all that stuff. So as we talked about, networking, it's blue collar, right? We're dealing with physical devices, and these devices need to be, on poles, on antennas, even satellites, and that's kind of what we manage. So there's that. We also have NOC technician. So NOC technician is someone who would do a lot of network monitoring, send alerts, send tickets out in case there's an error when something were to arise. So that's kind of what that's like. And then also there's like network focus help desk. These positions can pay anywhere to about 60 to about 80K per year. So these are really good positions if you're starting out, if you have no experience in the field. And to be honest, you don't have to start off here. I started off actually here. I went straight into the mid-level. If you have the right experience and not even experience, but the right skills and the right interviewing skills, you can be able to jump the ship and actually go into a mid-level role quite quickly. And then going into the middle level, obviously that's network engineering jobs, routing and switching, configuration, maintenance, all that cool stuff. You could also be a wireless engineer. So wireless engineering is basically someone who is working in networking, but what they do is that they are focused on the wireless side. So wireless is anything to do with radio frequencies, Wi-Fi, wireless access points. So think of it like an airport. Let's say you're at an airport and you land at this particular airport and you're like, wait a minute, how do I get Wi-Fi? Like that's the first thing you do when you land at an airport and you connect. It's free Wi-Fi. It's amazing. And you're wondering like, hey, how are 100,000 people able to connect to this exact same Wi-Fi in the airport? Well, that's kind of what a wireless engineer would do. It's a very important role. It's high in demand. It's always going to exist. And really, AI can't really take over that particular career field. And then we also have security engineering. So if you're really into like stopping hackers, really into actually doing that and like preventing hackers from attacking, then I would say definitely do security engineering. And that can be in doing different types of firewall management configurations, you adding sort of access control lists, you also doing a lot of VPN implementation as well, which is a virtual private network to be able to allow customers or colleagues or employees to connect to the internal corporate network. And that's kind of what that is. The next thing is going to be senior level positions. So obviously the mid level pays about 80 to 120. My first ever position, I started at about around this range at the lower end. And then Now, let's go into senior network engineering position. So, senior is basically a higher level positions. You're gonna do much more complex troubleshooting, and you're gonna do a lot more mentoring for people as well. You could be a network architect, which is basically you do a lot of the end-to-end designing and strategizing for the network. Because as a network engineer, you may have to do a lot of design work because a network needs to be designed in a certain way. I mean, there's routers, switches. It can be very complex, and we need people to really design that. You could be a pre-sales engineer, which is more like a technical solutions architect. And kind of what you'll do in that role is, guide the customer, guide the client, and make suggestions. Right? It's more of a sales role, but it's more just as a technical sales role to kind of explain what they're, because when it comes to this role, you may deal with a lot of businesses and a lot of big boy customers. Like you can have a customer like Netflix, because Netflix has their own fiber lines, and you as an engineer would help them and go through that process on how they can make the best decision. Next thing is going to be DevOps. So DevOps is quite huge as well. That's more like network automation and the programmability of it. So this is a field that's a little bit more advanced. It does require you to know a little bit about coding, and a little bit about different types of cloud mechanisms. But once you learn this, you're definitely going to be in a very, very secure position with a lot of demand, and there's very little competition. So if you're into a field like that, then I would definitely look into doing that as well. So this is kind of like the process, I would say. I'm not going to say your first position, you're going to start at senior levels. I would say your first position, if you're brand new, aim for mid-level or entry. You can definitely skip entry level if you are comfortable with doing that. That's what I did. I got the right skills and I was able to skip and jump straight into that. Right now I'm at that senior level mark, and it's absolutely phenomenal. I love working, and I just love helping people. So I would definitely say work your way up. It definitely takes time, but it's absolutely amazing. So who can get in, right? So a lot of the times people wonder, what do I actually need to get into this particular role? So you do not need a degree, right? There's no degree required, right? Same with certifications. Certifications in lab matter more. So at the end of the day, companies are looking for practical skills. And what I mean by practical skills, skills that are not theory. When you go to university, when you go to colleges, you're going to learn a bunch of theory, and you're going to learn a lot of information that's irrelevant to stuff that you're never going to do on the job. I went through university and I got a degree in computer information systems. And that degree did not help me one bit to help me land my job, because what I learned in that degree had nothing to do with what I did in the job. And here's the thing. A lot of people say, oh, you got to get a degree. It's very important. But if you look at the data right now, there are many college grads who are jobless right now, especially in computer science and computer information systems. So anyone who tells you get a degree, it's very important, it's going to help you land a job, really the data just doesn't show that anymore. Companies are not looking to train people. They're looking to get people to get the skills. And once you have the skills, they're ready to hire you for those skills. So practical skills and industry certifications often outweigh formal education and networking roles. This is not a role where a degree is required. So anyone who tells you that, complete bogus. I've worked with multiple engineers, and I've helped multiple engineers land jobs, and most of them don't even have degrees, right? Or they just have associate's degrees. Next thing is they value troubleshooting mindset and documentation and communication. So when it comes to as a network engineer, you have to have that those technical skills matter, and have effective communication. So when it comes to landing a job, what matters more is how good is your technical lingo? How good is your technical vernacular? How good are you at logically thinking and differentiating yourself as a great engineer? All those things matter more than just getting a piece of paper. And then also, if you have previous experiences, definitely going to be helpful. I'm not going to say having zero experience is better. Definitely having some experience in maybe help desk potentially, or sysadmin, or any lower level position is definitely going to help you, because, or even customer service position, like even if you're a waiter, because a lot of the times as a network engineer, when we're troubleshooting, that is more not a technical part right there. That is more of a communication issue, because you're dealing with customers, you're explaining key concepts, and you want them to fully understand exactly what you're trying to get across to solve that particular issue. So those are transferable skills that you can eventually use on your resume and talk about to help you land your first role as a network engineer. Next thing is your home lab portfolio. So if you don't have job experience, one of the biggest differentiators is going to be your home lab. Your home lab can be a physical lab, like an axle. You can actually buy a physical switch. So you can actually do that, or you can get a virtual lab, which we'll talk about soon. That one's going to be free and easier to do. A physical lab is going to take up space. It's going to be loud. It's going to be more expensive, but it's also great to have a physical lab if you want to have one. The great thing with that is you can demonstrate your hands-on experience through personal projects, and it shows initiative and really practical knowledge. So that's one huge thing, that a huge win that you can have is just showing that practical knowledge in your skill set. Because here's the thing, your skills pay the bills. Anyone who tells you you need more paper, more certifications, more degrees, no. Think about it. When you get hired for a particular position, the first thing you're doing in that particular role is it's a skill job, right? You're getting paid to solve a particular issue, a problem, and you have to have the skills to do the job. And you can get those on the job skills without going and getting experience. Okay, it's by doing hands-on labs, experiences, and all that stuff. And eventually I'll talk more about how you can learn and reach out to people to get more experience as well. So that's one huge thing that I can do. So anyone can get into this field. I got in with zero experience. Right? I had zero experience. I focused on the labs. I focused on the projects. I focused on getting the certifications. And I was able to land my first job as a network engineer just doing that. So now let's talk about certifications. So when it comes to networking, there are two certifications that are common knowledge that a lot of people recommend. The first one is going to be the CompTIA Net Plus. The next one is going to be the CCNA. I don't recommend the CompTIA Net Plus if you want to become a network engineer. It is more expensive and it's a worse certification. So anyone who tells you to get that first, I don't recommend it. I put these as optional if you want to get them, but like I said, it's a waste of time. I also got the GNCI certification. It's a decent certification, but not really worth it. And then there's some Azure and AWS networking certifications that are decent, but I wouldn't say are required. I would say if you want to become a network engineer, the gold standard right now is going to be the Cisco CCNA, which is the 200-301 exam. This exam is going to be hard, yes. This exam is going to be difficult, yes. But I can guarantee you, if you get this certification, it's going to make you a much, much, much better network engineer. This is the industry benchmark certification that opens doors to networking careers. It covers routing, switching, security, automation, fundamentals, right? It's highly recognized. A lot of people know this certification, and every network engineer is familiar with it. It has a very high return on investment. It costs $300 to $400, and in terms of the return on investment, it's quite high. And it's vendor preferred. So what I mean by vendor preferred is this certification focuses on Cisco, right? And Cisco is the largest vendor in all of networking. It's bigger than Juniper. Juniper is another vendor, but Cisco has the biggest market demand. So you're better off learning the vendor with the biggest market demand, which is going to be Cisco. And the thing with the CompTIA certification is that it's a vendor neutral certification. So it works for all vendors. The problem is you don't want to have a neutral certification that doesn't really give you that much hands-on experience like the CCNA does. So I would definitely recommend the CCNA. It's a much better certification. It's one that I would recommend you get. Next thing is going to be, if you're interested, I would also recommend the Security Plus. It does give you exposure to the security side. I don't have the certification myself, but if you are interested, it is a good certification, and it has a pretty high return on investment because it provides foundational security knowledge that actually complements your networking skills and increases your marketability. So it's really good certification when it comes to that. So pro tip is I would say start with the CCNA for the best return on investment, and then maybe you can supplement with others, but it's not a substitute for the CCNA. And if you get the CCNA, I would not even recommend any of these certifications unless, this is what I always tell my students who land jobs, if the company's going to pay for it and you have time, might as well just do it for fun, right? But it's not a certification that is required of you. So that's kind of step one. So now let's talk about the breakdown of this exam and how to pass it on your first try. So obviously you're paying money for this exam. It's not going to be free, and you're paying with time as well for all the time you're going to be studying. So I want to save you so much time. There are multiple domains in this exam. You have domains in IP connectivity, services, security, automation, and all that stuff, SD-WAN, all that cool stuff. So when it comes to this exam, you're going to need to focus on test taking. There's 2 steps, test taking and labs. This exam has about 3 to 4 labs and has multiple choice questions. It's about 120 minutes. The exam, I did put 100 to 200, 120 questions, but actually it is now much shorter, but there is more labs in this exam, but it always changes. So I'm going to just put this as generic, but right now how it's structured, it's about 60 to 70 questions with about 4 or 5 labs. The price is going to be about $300 to $400, depends on where you're located. And then also to get hands-on experience, I only recommend a couple of softwares. There's these 3 network simulation tools. I'm going to add one more. The other one is called Cisco Modeling Labs. But the best one I would recommend is called Cisco Packet Tracer. This is pretty much all you need. I don't recommend these ones unless you want to be more advanced and get more real life experience. But I would not recommend these at all in the beginning until you land a job. So Packet Tracer is really good for getting lab experience. It does teach you a lot. So the way I would structure this exam, the first couple of days, actually, maybe I have here's a study plan that I'll kind of show with you guys. So kind of the study plan that I would do is the first 1 to 2 weeks, like I'm going to focus on the fundamentals. I'm going to go in and do all that stuff. And the best fundamentals that I would recommend is there's a bunch of free courses out there. Or you can go through this guy named Jared's Me IT Lab. He's really good. You could also go to another guy, his course on Udemy. Any Udemy course is really good for the CCNA. Or if you're interested, I do have a course that you can, the link in my description if you're interested in that. But really the most important thing is when it comes to the CCNA is you want to focus on the fundamentals first. Then you want to do layer 2 to layer 3 concepts, and then you want to do a lot of subnetting practice. So subnetting is one of the harder concepts in the CCNA. It was a concept for me that gave me a lot of difficulty, but I would say definitely takes a lot of practice. Next thing I'm going to focus on is the core skills like VLANs, STP, OSPF, wide area network technologies, NAT, ACLs, and do tons and tons and tons of labs. And do the labs on Cisco Packet Tracer right here. Next thing is I'm going to focus on the wireless basics. I'm going to focus on the security concepts, automation intro. That's going to take another 14 days. And then the final push, I'm going to do a lot of labs, more labs, do a ton of practice exams. The practice exams can be done using Boson. Boson is a really good software when it comes to doing a ton of practice exams. So that's something I would definitely recommend for that. Next thing is I want you to schedule and take the exam. I probably should have put the schedule here, first week 1. But one thing I want to mention to you guys is please schedule your exam first before you do anything else. If you schedule the exam, it's going to put you in the mode of like, okay, I gotta schedule the exam 90 days out. That way you're 100% locked in, you've paid for it, and you're actually going to study. If you don't schedule your exam, you're really going to fall behind. And what I mean by fall behind, you're really going to be in a position where you think you're making progress, but you want that pressure. You want that feeling like, okay, schedule the exam. I'm actually going through with this. That's a huge thing. Okay. And then also, I would study about, I would have study blocks. I would say 4 to 6 hours per week if you're studying the right way, but I would honestly recommend about 10 hours a week, 2 hours a day. Okay. And I would spend most of your time doing lab simulations and then literally do 80% of your time on practice tests. Like this is what a lot of people mess up on is they're not doing enough practice exams. I would do over 1,000 practice questions. Yes, I said over 1,000. And the reason I say that is because you're literally taking a multiple choice exam with labs. So you should be spending a lot of your time doing that. Some of the resources I would recommend, like I said, are I have my own network engineering program. If you're interested, link in the description. But also I have a full-length, I'm working on this full-length CCNA course that I'll also share with you guys. But one more thing is I would also recommend a Udemy course. I forgot the name of the individual. His name is Neil Anderson. Neil Anderson's course, he's really good on Udemy. I would take that one. And then I would also use Boson for practice exams. So practice exam software, there's a software called Boson. Really good software, really great. And I would use that to do the practice exams, okay? So this is a full-length study plan. You can do it in 60 days or 90 days or 100 days, but I would move fast. The faster you get the exam, the faster the results come. If you want to make six figures as a network engineer, you need to move quick. Do not waste time. Very important that you do that. So now, after you pass your CCNA, what's the next steps? If you want to get another certification, I would definitely recommend one of the CCNP certifications. I don't have this as of right now, but it is something that is definitely worthwhile. But one thing I want to mention is don't go for these certifications until you land your first job, right? I would not recommend going for a CCNP until you actually have a job, because one thing that a lot of people make, a mistake that they make, is they start cert chasing. And what is cert chasing? Cert chasing is basically someone who chases certifications, gets more and more certifications, thinking that's going to be helping land. Like it's almost like they're very prideful about having a lot of certifications. I'm not big on certifications. I'm big on landing a job offer. I'd rather have multiple job offers than multiple certifications. But if you are going to get a certification, the next one I'll definitely recommend in networking that has a very high return on investment is going to be the CCNP. CCNP has two exams. There's the NCORE, where it's like the general exam, and then you can pick different tracks. You can pick CCNP data center, collaboration, service provider, as well as security. So you can pick whatever one you want to get into. It really doesn't matter about the track, but whatever one interests you, you can definitely do. So now you have your CCNA at this point. You've been doing labs and all that stuff. The next thing you need to focus on is your resume. So your resume is one of the most important aspect in terms of networking and or just getting a job and networking in general, right? But your resume has to be airtight. Your resume has to show that you have experience in the industry. And here's kind of a resume that I've worked on with a student. And one thing I want you to know is you want to pack your resume with a bunch of information on here. Your resume should have a lot of keywords. As you can see, this resume has a ton of keywords on this resume and a ton of bullet points for the experience. The most important thing on your resume is your experience, right? You can have a strong summary section. It's all up to you if you want it, but I would say experience is more important. And then also you want to add your technical skills part of your experience. A lot of times where people mess up is they use your skills in a skills section as opposed to putting their technical skills on the actual, putting this technical skills on the actual resume. Because think about it, you put on the actual resume, then the recruiter or hiring manager is going to see that you actually use those technical skills on the job. And you may be wondering, hey, I don't have job experience. How am I going to make this up? Or how am I going to add this? Well, here's the thing, guys. To add job experience, I'm pretty sure you have transferable skills from your previous roles. You have whether you're in customer service, I'm pretty sure you've touched a computer before, whether you're in, like you're working as a help desk position, I'm pretty sure you touch networking equipment at some point. You can use those transferable skills and put them on your resume. And then one key thing I would also do is start doing volunteer work at your local, church or your local mosque or wherever. You can ask to, hey, can I play around with your data center? Can I help you guys? Why aren't you guys doing that? Just because experience isn't paid doesn't mean it's not on the job experience. So do not be afraid if you don't have actually on the job experience, okay? This is a huge thing that I would say is you need to find your way to get your own experience, okay? And then put your certifications on there. And then also one key tip is I would also put the certifications you're planning on getting, okay? That's one huge thing that I would definitely recommend. And then also keywords, must-have keywords. These are some of the must-have keywords that you should have on your resume. And then some pro tips is to customize for each job description, match the terminology for every job description. So whenever you're applying for roles, and after this, we'll kind of show you how to apply for roles. But when you're applying for positions, you need to show it. Every resume, you can kind of mix it up and kind of match it and use AI to kind of build it up for you. You can link your portfolio, like your YouTube channel or your GitHub as well. And then also any home lab projects or demonstrations, you can go ahead and add that on here as well. So it's a huge thing that I would definitely do. So now let's go into the fun part of how to find network engineering jobs. So where to search? You can look for jobs in multiple places. You can do LinkedIn, you can do Indeed, Dice, ZipRecruiter, lots of places to look for jobs. And I recommend putting your resume on there. Once your resume is done and fully optimized, I would definitely put your resume on those websites because recruiters are going to contact you. Recruiters contact me all the time for positions, whether it's remote, in person, all the time. And it's one important thing that I want to share with you guys there. And then you want to set alerts for websites it's really important that you apply to positions quickly. The quicker you apply, the faster you're going to get a response. Because here's the thing, a lot of times where people mess up is they apply to positions like 10 days later. Like apply to the position within an hour or 2 or 3 or 5 hours of them posting it, because lots of jobs close the application window after 2 days because they get tons of applications. And then also when it comes to looking for jobs, and I want to do a live demonstration of this. So let me go ahead and open this up. So I just went ahead and opened up Indeed. And one thing I want to do real quick is just to show you how to find jobs. So on Indeed, one thing that you can do is you can actually search for jobs. So a lot of times people will just search for network engineer, which is fine because you'll find many jobs on here. When you're applying for positions, one thing I want you guys to do is to apply directly on the company website. So as you can see here, we're using Indeed. So as soon as we open this, let me go and quickly log in. Okay, so now when you go into the website, as you can see, this was added 2 days ago. The position pays $55 to $60 per hour. So I'm not sure on the exact math, but that's definitely over about 110 to 120K per year. So this is a 3 to 6 month contract, and this is a long-term staff position. So that means you're a contract to hire. And anyone who tells you you can't work remote as a network engineer, this position is about 80% remote with some regional travel. So you may travel to a data center, touch some devices and all that stuff. Really cool stuff there. So in this position, as you can see, here's some routing protocols and all that stuff. But as you can see, this is kind of the stuff that you need. And it says 8 to 10 years, guys. Nonsense. Complete nonsense. If you have the skills, you're pretty much good to go. Anyone who tells you need 8 to 10 years of experience is a complete joke when it comes to that. So never read the experience that they're requiring, because it doesn't mean anything. So this is pretty much Indeed. Next place I want to show you is going to be LinkedIn. So I'm going to go ahead and go straight into LinkedIn here. And then basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to search for actual networking specific terminology. So I'll search for like OSI model, and I'll click on jobs here. And one cool thing is now it's going to show you jobs that require you to know the OSI model, which is a very networking specific term. So I'll see a position here. And then from this position, you can go and click apply. One thing I want to let you know is that there's a difference between apply, and then you'll see something called like quick apply. So let me show you what a quick apply looks like. Luckily, there isn't as many. So let me keep looking here. Easy apply. This is the worst thing that you guys can ever do. The absolute worst thing you guys can ever do is do this. Right? It's a waste of time. Right? As you can see, 100 applications, you're not going to see a response from this. So basically what I'll do is I click on here. I see this position, see the pay range, right? It says 5 years, but trust me, guys, I've gotten hired for positions that say 5+ years. I only have 1 year of experience. So doesn't really mean anything. What I'll do now is I click apply, and I'll take you straight to the website. And then what you want to do is actually apply directly on the website for this particular position. So that's kind of what the process looks like there. Same thing. One thing you can also do is you can do like let's do like another keyword. Let's do OSPF, which is another networking keyword. And if you guys don't know these networking keywords, you can actually ask AI to do this for you. So we'll just click on this one, enterprise network engineer. And as you can see, we have all this information here and all this cool stuff. What you want to do obviously is click apply. So I recommend you doing this as opposed to you searching for like network engineer, which is fine. You can do that, but I highly recommend you search by the actual keyword, because you get more hits. And sometimes you see positions like this, like network administrator, as opposed to network engineer. And like I said, this was 3 hours ago. So this is a position I would quickly apply to. And as you can see, the recruiter is quickly hiring. So if you can, after you apply, if you want, optional, go ahead and message the recruiter and say, hey, I applied to the position. Just wanted to let you know if there's anything you need from me so we can speed up the process or whatever. But that's some of the things I would definitely recommend when it comes to applying for jobs. And I would apply for about 10 jobs a day. Okay. And then you'll get interviews at that point. So that's kind of the process when it comes to that. So now that you guys know how to apply for jobs, one thing you can also do is also join communities. There's lots of communities on Reddit, on Discord, Slack, local meetups. Just talk to people who are network engineers. One huge thing that I recommend is to just meet people. One big mistake is people don't ever talk to other network engineers. One thing that really helped me was that my uncle was a network engineer. So I would speak to him daily and then ask him what he does on the job and actually get those actual details. Because when it comes to doing well as on the jobs or just becoming a network engineer is to ask people for advice. And that's one huge thing that I would definitely recommend is just that. And then also, join communities and then follow top companies, recruiters, just start reaching out to people, build connections. Like I said, you're networking. Why aren't you guys networking as well? Like you actually network with actual human beings and talk to them and get the strategy, because it's really critical that you do that and all that stuff. So that's one huge aspect that I would definitely recommend. And then must-have keywords. Like I said, these are the must-have keywords. So I would definitely take a screenshot of this and save this and just start putting this on your resume and learn these aspects. Like I said, they're not that difficult to learn. Use ChatGPT, use a lot of the resources, use the internet, it's free, and actually learn all this stuff, okay? These are massive, massive keywords that you should learn. So now, in terms of entry-level versus experienced roles, entry-level roles, pretty much what you do is you manage tickets, you monitor network health, you do a lot of basic configuration changes with approval. Like for me, when I was, my first entry-level role as a network engineer 1 was my first role. I did a lot of just managing. You get a lot of tickets that come in. And once these tickets come in, you have to do certain types of work, whether it's troubleshooting layer 1, layer 2, maybe even layer 3 issues. Sometimes you're going to be on call. So we had a rotation where we're on call every 4 months for 1 week. So that means that for a whole week, you're going to be on call. So you're going to have your phone with you. And then what you're going to do is that you may get a phone call. So in my 4 years of being on call, I've only been on call. I've only had a phone call come to me like once, like 3 times, I would say, three total times. So it's nothing serious. And you used to do after hour support. You'll do quite a bit of documentation and maintenance. And then also when it comes to experience, you may do a lot more design work, a lot of architecture planning. You'll do a lot of large scale implementation and migrations. You'll do a lot of multi-vendor environments. You'll create standard operating procedures, which is basically standards that network engineers are going to follow. A lot of run books, a lot of documentation. You do quite a bit of mentoring. Even as an entry level, after even a year, I was already mentoring other people. So all this stuff is stuff that can maybe go back and forth with. The key difference really between entry level is the day-to-day operations the day-to-day operations, while experienced engineers, they're more involved in planning, they're more in meetings, more technical, leading technical initiatives. So here's kind of a project that I would definitely build out if you're looking to become a network engineer. This is one of the projects that we kind of build in our program. It's a huge project and it's something that's definitely going to help you a lot. It is building out real life projects. And like I said, the easiest way to get these projects is to talk to other network engineers. This is the easiest way to get ahead, is by having connections. So you should go on LinkedIn, and I'll talk about LinkedIn very soon, but it's very important that you do that. So let me actually go straight into LinkedIn real quick. So LinkedIn, let me open up my LinkedIn account right here. So this is my LinkedIn account. When it comes to LinkedIn, it's super simple. A lot of people overcomplicate it. This is the best LinkedIn account that has helped me get multiple recruiters reaching out to me. Almost every week, a recruiter is reaching out to me for a position. So first thing you want to do is you want to put your title. If you're not a network engineer, still put network engineer. Do not put aspiring network engineer, okay? Next thing I would do is I'll put your name and then put any certification that you have. I would put the company that you work at. I would put any degree that you are doing or have completed. Your about section. This is a tactic I'm going to give you guys for your about section. Copy your resume, put it on ChatGPT, say, create me a 3-paragraph about section. Boom, done, right? Next steps is any posts about companies that you work at or any certifications that you've gotten. Definitely share that information with people. Very huge, insightful stuff. Your experience. You want to put the company that you work at. You want to put all the stuff that you've done. Like here's kind of like the program that I help people with. You can put any, like I put my YouTube channel here because I've been doing YouTube. So I feel like that's really important and it's related to my job. And then also I would add your company experience. So here's a company that I previously worked at. As you can see, I put all the details that I did there. Add your education, add your certifications, and make sure your certification, you can actually click on it and actually see it here. So that's one big thing there. And then if we go back down here, you can add your interests of people that you follow, and then any licenses, certifications here. So that's pretty much it. So then here's like all the network engineer jobs. We can close these out. Make sure you don't forget to apply, but that's pretty much it when it comes to that. Have a background, have a clear image. Simple. Don't go too crazy with it. So that's that. And hopefully that has been insightful for you guys. So now let's go ahead and talk about remote on-site. So I've worked hybrid and I've worked fully remote positions. So as a network engineer, you can definitely work remote. I love working remote. Remote's one of the better jobs, I would say, because you get to, the lifestyle is great. You can travel. You can, you don't have to commute to work. You can, be with family, which is really awesome. So if you want a more of a remote role, you can obviously do it remote because there's a lot of protocols that allow us to connect to devices remotely. So you can do this by, being change management, doing remote troubleshooting, monitoring, all that stuff. Remote is great, but also you have to remember it can get a little bit lonely if you're home alone. So that's one bad thing about that. The next thing is on site. So on site, you're definitely gonna do a lot more collaborations. You may do a lot of the physical implementation as well. So like I said, remember networking. It's a blue collar of tech, so you may actually have to touch this physical equipment. When you're remote, there's a whole team that will manage the physical equipment for you. And then hybrid. So sometimes you may work hybrid schedule. Hybrid schedule is a schedule that I like, where you kind of come to the office about 2 to 3 days a week, which is pretty cool. It's pretty awesome. You can do that. The next thing is also going to be travel. Sometimes you may have to travel to actual data centers. I have one of my students, actually, his name is Dylan. He's only 22 years old, and he landed a job as a network engineer. And he gets to travel all over the US. He loves it. He's a young guy. He loves to travel. So it's a huge opportunity if you guys love traveling. You can find positions as like a network technician or data center technician where you get to actually travel the world. In fact, and I've worked in companies where literally like the data center team would fly to Spain just to do like a data center build. It's pretty amazing. Pretty fantastic, actually. So definitely an awesome opportunity for people. Okay, so now salaries is everyone's favorite subject. So these are the salary ranges that I found for entry-level positions. Really depends on where you're located, but this is kind of the ranges that I found for entry-level. And then, like I said, location matters. If you're in San Francisco, it's definitely going to be much, much, much more pay as opposed to living in Texas. And then these are the types of positions you can get. So go ahead and screenshot this if you guys will find this helpful. And like I said, this is only for the United States because I only know the United States market because I live in the USA. So if you're in different countries, unfortunately can't tell you that information. So you have to use your best judgment or maybe talk to a network engineer in the city. And here's some other salary ranges for mid-level. So as you can see, we got like network engineer, we got wireless engineers. You can make some really decent money in these ranges as well. So that's kind of that. And then career progression. So when it comes to your career progression, in the beginning, you're going to be making 60, 80K. Once you grow, you're going to be 80 to 120. And eventually, after like 3 or 4 or 5 years, you're a senior. You can make well over 6 figures, even into the 200Ks. Like as a manager or director, you can make really good money in this field, tons of pay. And it's amazing. Like I know network engineers who make over 190, 100, 200K a year and they work fully remote. It's a very great job to work in. It definitely takes time. It's definitely going to take some effort, but it is a very rewarding career field to be in for sure. So definitely enjoy the salary progression. So definitely go ahead and screenshot this. So now interviewing. Interviewing when it comes to networking is a skill, right? At the end of the day, if you want to be able to be good at interviewing, you have to practice the interviewing skill. So I'm going to go and give you guys a full guide on how to pass a network engineering interview. Okay. The first thing I want you guys to do when it comes to your network engineer interview, as soon as you get the interview, you have to research the company. Research who you're speaking to, research the company details, research exactly all the information, which is super important because at the end of the day, if you don't even know who you're interviewing with, they're going to smell that and they're going to be like, this person doesn't even know what he's talking about. I'm not going to hire this individual. And trust me, guys, that is the worst thing that ever could happen to you as an engineer. Is you lose an opportunity because of your lack of research. So make sure you research the company, research who you're speaking with, ask them questions. Next thing is you need to prepare for the technical questions they're going to ask you. They're going to be asking you a ton of network engineering technical questions. And you can go on YouTube, and in my program, I have a whole list of network engineering programs. So if you guys are interested in that, click the link in my description. But the list of questions are going to be huge. There's tons of questions they're going to ask you. For the first question they're going to ask you is what is DNS? What is the OSI model? All those types of questions. You have to really be able to answer those particular questions. And if you don't answer those questions, you're going to fall behind. You're going to fall behind. So you need to be able to answer those technical questions. And the easiest way of doing that is record yourself answering these questions. So I'm going to answer one of these technical questions. So let's say someone asks me, hey, Wally, can you please explain to me what is DNS? Or I'll do another one. What is DHCP? So thank you so much for that question. So DHCP basically is Dynamic Host Control Protocol. And the whole point of this protocol is to basically automatically assign IP addresses to devices on a network. And the whole purpose of this protocol is to really automate that process of IP assignment, because at the end of the day, let's say you're working in an office building and you are basically having to manually assign IP addresses. That's prone to human error. It's going to cause a lot of conflict. And DHCP is a wonderful protocol to allow that. It uses a 4-step mechanism, has a discover, has a request, has acknowledgement, and all that stuff. So it has this whole process when it comes to that. And that whole process is pretty much the process of DHCP. So definitely learn. This is kind of like how I would, answer this particular question. It is a skill. Interviewing is a skill. You have to be really good at answering questions technically. And the next thing you want to do is, this is huge, you have to ask more questions than the interviewer. And sometimes people, the students that I've helped, one big mistake is they're not asking enough questions. And if you're not asking enough questions, trust me, you're going to fall behind, because it's really important that you interview the other company. And if you don't interview them, they're going to think that you're not interested. And really, if you don't ask enough questions, you're not going to have enough time with the actual interviewer. So definitely ask a ton of questions. And then be prepared. There may be a whiteboarding session as well, where they may ask you to troubleshoot a packet tracer lab. I had one of my students do that for one of his interviews, and you got to fix a particular outage. And then also be prepared to demonstrate your hands-on skills, like bring practical lab examples, network designs that you did, or any troubleshooting wins that you've done. Remember when I talked about all the projects that you're going to be doing? Build out your projects, right? Do the labs, but then put that on your resume and then bring that up during the interview. It's really huge. Even if you don't have experience, really, really important that you bring that up during the interview and show that you actually have that expertise. It's very important. It's going to be mission critical for you guys to do that. And I would highly recommend you guys do that as soon as possible when you're interviews. And when it comes to interviews, at the end of the day, when you're done with it, you need to send a thank you email to everyone. Send a quick thank you email. Thank you guys so much for taking the time to coordinate this interview. I really appreciate it. Send that out. Easy, you're done. And it's really important that you do this because you want to keep them top of mind, show that you're thankful for their time, and that's it. And then you just wait and see whatever they have to say. If you fail the interview, ask them, like, if you want, you could say, if you can give me some things on how I could have done better, whatever. Those things matter, not too much, but it's really important that you would do something like that just to show that, like, you're interested, like, that you care. Is huge. And then at the end of the day, you do more interviews. The more interviews you do, the better it gets. And if you keep failing your interviews, it's not because I don't have experience. It's most likely because you're not really good at interviews. So I would definitely ask a network engineer for help. I would start, potentially even recording your interviews. Ask the interviewer if you can do that, and try to record them and have them reviewed by a network engineer. That's something I would definitely recommend you do as well. And then obviously with interview prep, you can use Packet Tracer. You can use all these lab softwares. I would run through the actual job description, put it into AI, and then have it create me 15 questions. Practice with those interview questions. One thing that you can also do is during the interview process, usually what it goes is you speak with you speak with the recruiter first, then you speak with the actual technical interview, and then you actually have an interview with the manager. During the technical interview, I want you to during the recruiter interview, I want you to tell the recruiter, what are some things I can best prepare for this next interview? Because they probably have some intel that they can give you to help you succeed, and they want you to succeed. So they're not going to gatekeep information from you. So you want to use that information to your advantage. So be prepared to ask that question. One thing you can also do is ask someone who works at that particular company, and ask them, like, hey, like, yo, I am interested in this particular role. I'm interviewing. Can you give me some tips? Maybe someone can literally give you the sauce. You want to always have an advantage over your competition, because you're going to be competing with other people when it comes to interviews. So definitely prepare for your interviews, okay? If you fail your interviews, it's most likely a skill issue, interviewing skill. Get better at talking. That's the most important thing. The most important skill you can get to break into tech is actually not your technical skills. It is your interpersonal social skills. So be able to have really good soft skills, because at the end of the day, that's what lands you the job. It's not your skills, not your technical skills. It's your how well do you talk? If you can't talk well, you're not going to get a job. So here's some common network engineering interview questions. They may ask you some subname questions like, hey, what's a /27? How many hosts are on there? You got to be prepared to answer that question. They're going to ask you maybe OSPF stuff. They may ask you Ether channel, NAT. This is a very common question. Describe a network outage you solved. every interview I've done and every interview all of my students have done, very common question that they ask is that team conflict, post-mortem lessons, all that cool stuff. Really important that you're really good at answering those questions. So that pretty much wraps up the course. Hope you guys enjoyed it. But there's just let you know, just because this is over, there's some things that I want you guys to know. You have some options right now. You can literally, after this, you can literally just do nothing. You can watch this video and literally just go back to doing what you're doing, watch the next video. The next thing you can do is you can do it yourself. You can use exact systems that I give you, and you can actually follow everything I tell you to do, and you can land a job, but it may take you 6 to 12 months or even 2 years if you follow everything I tell you to do. It may take longer. Or the next step is you can actually get coached by me, right? This is more of a fast track method where we'll do mock interviews together. We'll do lots of resume help, and I'll actually give you personalized guidance on exactly how to land a job as a network engineer. And the result is you're going to have accelerated progress. You're going to have expert feedback, and you're going to have a much higher success rate that is much quicker that a lot of my students have been able to use and actually land jobs with. So if you guys are interested and you want to start your journey, I have a program that pretty much teaches people exactly step by step on how to land a network engineering job with zero experience landing your first network engineering job. If you guys are interested in that, there's going to be a link in the description. So go ahead and click down there. Or if you want, you can screenshot this and this will take you to that link. But if you want, you can apply for my coaching program that coaches people, but there's limited spots available, and the application only takes 5 minutes. And this is not for everyone. This is only for people who are actually serious about changing their lives. And if you're actually serious, go ahead and click the link in my description. Very important that you do that. And then also, if you want, please rewatch this video. It's very important that you take notes and soak up all this knowledge, because I pretty much gave up a lot of information for you guys. And then also, guys, go ahead and subscribe to my channel. If you guys like the video, give it a thumbs up. If you guys want to subscribe, go ahead and subscribe. You guys can also follow me on IG. It's IT with Wally. And then if you want, you can follow for updates on Instagram. You can follow me on LinkedIn and all that stuff. So I want to say thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you guys like the video, give it a thumbs up. Comment below if you have any questions. And I hope you guys have a good rest of your day. And peace.